Hi, everyone. We are live. We're just going to take a few minutes to let everyone join us. I'm excited you're here. I'm excited to talk about clearing clutter today and to create that energetic shift in your space so that you can increase your abundance, reclaim your power, and improve your relationships. So this is one of my favorite topics, and I love clutter clearing. So we are going to dive deep into what clutter is, what the strategies are, and what we're going to do about it. If you have questions, be sure to put them in the chat box, and I'll be checking them as we go through today. I'm excited to get started and get going and get to know you and share with you what I know about clutter and what my experience has been. Oh, hi, Lynn. You're from Manitoba. Awesome. Well, I'm in Calgary, Alberta. So we are prairie girls, which is great. If you have any questions throughout this process, be sure to let me know. So for those of you that don't know me very well, I'm Jill Ethier. I'm the mother of 3 beautiful girls, and I reside in Calgary, but I'm moving to an acreage at the end of the month. So clutter clearing has been something that I've been doing in a radical way this past month as I'm gearing up to pack everything into boxes and get going. Let me know if something happens tech-wise, you guys, and if you can't see me or hear me, and we can make the adjustments. So my journey into energy began a little over 11 years ago. I ended up going to a university here in Calgary and learning about feng shui. And one of the biggest components about feng shui was clearing clutter, setting the stage for the feng shui cures to be most effective. Because when we have copious amounts of clutter in our space, our feng shui cures won't be as effective. So to me, it's like the first step in creating that energetic shift in your life, and it starts in your home. Here's how I know it works. Is because when my husband, who works in the oil and gas industry and he works away, when he hasn't been at a job for a period of time, he will go down to the basement and start clearing out his filing cabinets and all of his stuff because he knows that clutter clearing will create new energy, which will likely get him back to the rig faster. So that's how I know it works. When you take a very black and white dude and he goes down and clutter clears. It's also something that I have taught my children over the years because they come home from school with so much stuff, and you need to teach them that it's not about being attached to the stuff. It's about the meaning behind it, what is truly important to you, and then being able to let it go. So I'm teaching my kids from a young age about clutter. It's a fun way to shift energy in your life or in your business. So any of the tools and techniques you learned today can be applied to your home or can be applied to your space at work, whether it's your own brick and mortar business or whether it's your office or your cubicle. So what we realize is that when clutter piles up, it starts impacting the energy very radically in your space. So what I love most about it is it's something I can go and do and change in order to shift the energy. So when I learned about it 11 years ago, I've been incorporating it, over the years, and I have regular clutter clearing times that I do each year, usually about every 3 to 4 months, to ensure that the energy in our space is exactly where we want it to be. And then the next parts of this, and in the next 2 webinars that are part of this series, we're going to learn more about the feng shui tips and tricks. But this is what you consider to be like the table, right? We're going to set the table and we're going to decide what the energy is, but we need to ensure that the space is ready to go. So that's what clutter clearing does for us. So I want to jump in and get started. Let me know as we go if you have any questions. I have some slides ready to go and we will get going. I'm going to turn on the screen share here and pull the slides up. There we go. Okay, Let me know if you can't see the slides. So in my business, I mix energetic and strategic tools and techniques to shift the energy, to change your life, to create the business that you desire. And clutter is really one of those things that we can always use to shift the energy, right? It's my favorite tool. So if I have somebody who's actually stuck strategically in their business, I will actually tell them to go and clean out some of the clutter in their business or in their home in order to create that energetic shift that we want, so that we can get the energy flowing and use it to our advantage in our life and in our work. Okay, so here's why clutter clearing is so important. Clutter stops the energy flow in your space. Okay, so the more stuff we have in your space, the less the energy is able to move around, which is an issue, right? Because everything is energy. So if it can't move freely, how can new things come into our life? Okay, it goes beyond disorganization in your home. So some people think that when they have clutter, they just need to get a professional organizer to come in. And they're fabulous, and I know a brilliant one if you need a referral, but she also clears the clutter first. Because the thing is if there's too much stuff, it doesn't matter how organized it is, because it still makes the energy stagnant. It makes the energy dull. It stops things from happening. Okay, we can feel its presence whether we know it or not. And how you'll know it is when you start clutter clearing, you're like, oh, the house feels lighter and brighter. And you'll notice that right away as you start clearing the clutter. Okay, clutter affects your mental, emotional, and physical health. Okay, it's impacting you, and it's impacting you in ways that you don't even actually know about yet, right? Mentally, it creates a drain on us, because all we can think about is how we're going to deal with all of the clutter. Emotionally, it actually causes arguments and disagreements and disputes and communication issues, because sometimes one person is a clutterer and one person isn't. And then physical health-wise, I have seen clients lose vast amount of weight once they start clearing the clutter. Clutter is like protecting yourself from the world and from life. Hi, Linda. I see that you're on from Airdrie. Love it. Yay. I'm glad you're here. And so I've seen clients lose, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 20 pounds as they get rid of more clutter, because it's like peeling away the layers of an onion, right? And the more cluttered our space is, the more cluttered our life is, the more cluttered the energetics of our body is. Like, this is a big deal, which is why it's one of the first things that I teach from an energetic standpoint, is what you're going to do about your clutter, okay? Your home is an external representation of who you are. The state of your home reflects the state of your life. So look around if you're at home. If you're not at home and you're tuning in from somewhere else, think about your house and go, does this home reflect who I want to be? Is this home who I'm going to be? Okay, the state of your home reflects the state of your life. So the more you care and love for your home, the more your life will move forward towards what it is you desire, the life that you truly want, right? It is the foundation. It is the platform, right? It is what nourishes and supports you so you can go do and be who you want to be, okay? Is this really who you are, who you want to be? And if it's not, then you can change it. That's the beauty of it, right? Is you can change the space to reflect who you want to be. So what is clutter? Because we need to understand what clutter is in order to know what we need to tackle, right? What we need to do about it. So clutter can be physical, so the stuff, right? And a lot of stuff, because, we tend to live with a lot of stuff. Clutter can be mental, so it's all of those things that are rolling around in our brain, and a lot of it is the negative self-talk, right? I can't do this because I'm not good enough. I don't have the right skill set. This, that, and whatever. That's a lot of clutter that goes in our mind. But we'll focus on that when we talk about mindset in another webinar, because there's a lot that you can do to shift that mental clutter, okay? And then there's also spiritual clutter, not following who you need to be, not being on purpose, not being on track, not listening to the call of your soul, right? Being confused about what that is. okay? But today we're going to focus on physical clutter, because here's what I know. When you shift the energy in your space, you also directly impact your mental and spiritual energy as well. You lighten the mental load because there's not so much stuff around you for you to have to deal with. You lighten the spiritual energy and you get more connected because the energy in your home will elevate with the more clutter we remove from it, because clutter has heavy energy and your spiritual energy needs lighter energy to really come through. So your intuition is going to increase. Your connection with what you know to be true is going to increase. The desire to follow the call of your soul is going to increase as you get rid of clutter. And I know it sounds a little bit crazy, but I tell you that you will come back to me and say, you were bang on, because I see it time and time again. Clearing clutter is one of the easiest ways to make a radical shift in your life, okay? Clutter creates negative and dull energy and affects all areas of your life. When I'm talking about all areas of your life, I mean your abundance. I mean your personal growth. I mean your relationships, your creativity, the support you receive, your purpose, your overall well-being. Okay, and it impacts communication and relationships with your family, relationships with your partner, relationships with your friends. It creates such a low energy that it creates negativity in these areas, right? So energy attracts energy, right? Because everything is energy. So what happens is if we have a dull, stagnant energy in our home, then all we're attracting is dull, stagnant energy. But if we can start elevating the energy in our space, we start elevating our level of abundance. We start elevating our level of well-being. We start elevating the energy with which we interact with those that we love. It impacts everything, okay? The effects of clutter. So write these down because it's important. Here's why clearing clutter should be really, really important to you now, because you don't want any of these things to be happening anymore. It makes you tired and lethargic. So if you're thinking about, if you're sitting in a cluttered room, or you know what, and sometimes the clutter can be hidden, so the room might look good, but the closets are jam-packed and all the cupboards are so full that you couldn't fit anything new in. Okay, so I can find all of the clutter hiding spots, that is for sure. But if you're sitting in a home that is really cluttered, or in a cubicle or in an office, you're going to feel tired. So even this process is going to make you feel like you don't want to do it, because you're already lethargic, because the energy is so low in your space because of the clutter. Okay, so you just have to start clearing it in order for the energy to rise, and then your personal energy will rise to match that. Or some people experience when they're out and about, they have great energy, and then they come home and they get really tired right away. It's the energy in your space that is directly impacting your personal energy, okay? Clutter keeps you in the past. So a lot of clutter we have are the memories we had, and they can be good memories or they can be bad memories, but it keeps pulling us back there. It doesn't let us move forward in creating the life that we desire. Okay, so you really need to think about that is does this stuff reflect who I am now? And does it reflect who I want to be? Okay, it affects your body weight. We already talked about that. The more clutter, the more weight. I see it time and time again. Let go of the clutter, and then you're going to have more physical energy to do something about the weight. Okay, it distracts you from important things, like your purpose. So if there's a lot of clutter, we tend to have to move around it. We tend to have to search for things, right? Because we lose things. So then we're losing time. We're losing time to do something that we could be actively doing to create the life that we desire based on what we truly want. It's a time stealer, okay? And it affects how people treat you. Because clutter reveals to me how you feel about yourself. And the more you clear the clutter, whether it's physical clutter, spiritual clutter, or mental clutter, the more you will increase your self-esteem, your self-confidence, and really honor who you are. And when you start really honoring who you are and what you truly want, you will attract people that will do the same. Okay, and it causes procrastination. Because why? I've said it already. Because the energy is so low, right? And then it makes us stuck. And then we don't want to do it because what we're probably needing to do is a little outside our comfort zone anyways. And so then we procrastinate it more, which means that we don't create the life that we desire and that we truly want as quickly as we could. So if you really want to shift things in your life, start clutter clearing today. Okay? So there are 4 types of clutter that we want to look at. Things that you don't love or use are one of them, and we're going to go through these in more detail in the next slides. Things that are untidy or disorganized, which are obvious. Too many things in a small space. And you know what's interesting is clients will say, well, it'll be better when I move into a bigger space because I'll have more room. So then I won't have to, it won't be as jam-packed. But the funny part is they get into that new, bigger space and they fill it up again because they haven't really tackled their clutter problem, right? Clutter is a mindset and a mentality that you need to decide that you want to do something about. So you can move into a bigger space or you can move things to a storage locker, but I guarantee that your home will clutter itself back up again if you don't start going through some of these strategies, tools, and techniques to minimize the need to purchase, the need to clutter it up, the need to protect yourself, right? This is like peeling open the onion, right? And we're going to dive deeper into what this means for your soul set, your purpose, your passion, and your life strategy, okay, in the webinars to come. And anything that's unfinished. Okay, so these are the 4 types, and let's dive a little deeper into what they are because you need to establish what type of clutter you're dealing with in order to know what you need to do about it. So things you do not love or use. So everything in our space has an energy, right? So if you took dowsing rods and you measured the energy of things, everything would have different energy. The things that you truly love have the most positive energy. They have the highest energy level because they make you feel really good because you love them, right? You purchased them, someone you love gave them to you. They're right up your alley. They reflect who you are and who you want to be. And then things that we don't love have stagnant, stuck energy. So look around the room if you're at home or think about one of your spaces and look at the things that you love. Those are the things that you're going to keep. But the things you don't love, it's time to let them go, okay? Now, this gets a little tricky because what happens if it was a gift? I know, and I sound like the meanest person in the room, but if you don't love it, you can still love the person, love the sentiment, love the thought, and donate it or give it away or sell it. I know, it sounds awful, but the thing is you want to protect the energy in your space. So you need to have the things in your space that you truly, truly want and the things that you truly, truly love. Now, what happens if it's somebody else's thing, right? Like your husband's or one of your children's or something. Well, then you have to if they truly love it, then you have to learn to love it because you love them, because it's important to them. It works for their energy. It means something to them. Okay. If there is something that you cannot give away because your mother-in-law would be really annoyed with you or your father-in-law, then just put it away until they come over and then pull it out when they visit. You're respecting, what they've given you then, right? But you don't need to have it out all the time because it's your home, it's your space, and this is your energy, and it's time that you really start protecting what your energy is. This home is your platform and foundation for doing what you truly want to do. It's all about sustaining your personal power, okay? So it's really, truly important. So things you do not love or use have no room in your life anymore. So I mean use like currently. I don't mean use like 3 years ago. I mean you've used it in the past 6 months to a year. Okay, so the clothes in your closet that are too small or too big because your weight has yo-yoed a bit need to go. okay? Unless it's a piece that you truly love. Let them go, because if you get back to the ideal weight or you gain weight, you deserve to have new things, right? So if you don't love them and if you don't use them, let them go. I'm sure there's a pile of stuff down in your basement that you don't use. Some people like have boxes where they didn't even unpack them when they moved in. Well, if it was 5 years ago when you moved in and you haven't unpacked them, you don't use the stuff that's in there. Like, I guarantee it. Get rid of it. It is clogging up your space. It is clogging up your life. Okay, the next type of clutter, things that are untidy or disorganized. So this type of clutter creates stagnant, blocked energy, affecting the flow of energy in the area. Every item should have a place that it goes back to, okay? So this is where you need to ensure that there's a spot in a cupboard, a spot in a dresser, a spot in a closet that everything can go back to at the end of the evening. So at the end of our night, things get placed on my stairs because I have stairs going upstairs to the girls' rooms, and they know to pick them up as they go and put them back in their room properly. Now, a couple of the girls are kind of young, so I sometimes have to help them do that. But everything gets put back away at the end of the night. So the kitchen counters are all cleared off. The living room is all put back together. My desk is all ready to go for my morning routine. Everything gets put away because we are creating this space. We are creating the energy to start again in the morning, okay? But if things don't have a place to go back to, it means that you have too much stuff because there's nowhere to put it. Here's also what I know about things when they're untidy or disorganized. I have a spot near my phone in the kitchen that I'll place important papers that I need to remember about that are, within 1 to 2 days of using them. But what I notice is the moment I put a paper on the counter, there's like 10, 12, 15 random things there by the end of the day because everybody feels like they have to add on to it, the pile. Okay? And that's what happens with clutter. Clutter attracts clutter. It's like energetic magnetism. Okay, so the more things that are untidy, the more things that are disorganized, the more clutter that will appear there. So the only thing that I want slightly disorganized in your home is, the junk drawer, because that thing is hard to keep organized anyways, but only slightly disorganized. Did you notice how I said that? Okay, but even in that drawer, in the junk drawer, you know which items go there. Okay, there's not random items that are put there that need to go somewhere else. This takes time to set up this system. So don't get overwhelmed with the process. You start one drawer at a time, one closet at a time. And then what you do, you just 10 minutes before you're supposed to go to bed, you pick up and you clean up and you start making that part of your nightly routine. And I know you're probably tired. So what I started doing was, instead of doing it at 10 to 11, because I go to bed at 11, I do it before I sit down at 10 o'clock. Okay, and usually what I do is, as my girls are showering, because I have girls that are 9 and 7, I actually clean up the house at that point, so that once they're in bed, I can just come down to my desk and do some work, and then I go up and get ready for bed, and I come down, I usually watch a bit of TV or read, but my work is done. So I do it earlier because I know that by 10 minutes to 11, the last thing I'm going to want to do is clean up the space. But I also know that I want to come down in the morning to a space that is ready to nourish and support me in a big way for whatever I'm going to tackle that day. Okay? The third type of clutter is when you have too many things in a small space. And I already said this. So it's the same as things being untidy and disorganized. Clutter attracts clutter. It really, truly does. So you need to tackle it. And you simplify your home by only allowing things you love or use into it. Okay, so once you clutter clear the first time, and then you'll probably have to do it round 2 and round 3, because we hone in further on what we don't need the more times we do it, then you start only allowing things into your space that you love or you use. Otherwise, it's a no. So my shopping habits radically changed when I tackled what clutter looked like to me. Okay? And then the fourth type of clutter is anything that is unfinished. So this can be anything that's not complete, including bill payments, phone calls that need to be made, small repairs like changing light bulbs, big repairs like fixing holes in walls or cleaning the carpets, any painting that needs to be done, any cleaning that needs to be done. Anything that is unfinished in your space stops the energy from flowing, and it creates energy that results in your life not moving forward. So you need to make a list of the things that are unfinished, and you need to start tackling that list. When a light bulb burns out, replace it right away or as soon as you can. Okay, when bills come in, pay them right away. When you need to make a phone call, just do it. Stop thinking about it, because that also adds to your mental clutter, right? And then tackle the repairs as soon as you can. Anything that is unfinished stalls the energy in your life and the energy flow in your home. Okay? The bigger the job, the bigger the impact on the energy. So if you have a massive reno project that's been going on for 2 years and you're just not getting it done, you are stalling the energy in your life. You want to create a shift in your life to get the project done. Okay? Let me know if you guys have any questions along the way. So there are a lot of ways to declutter, and all of them are great, and there's not one that's right or wrong. I think you need to, get into your mojo of what works best for you. The most important thing is that you start. Okay, so you can declutter one space at a time. So you can decide that on Saturday morning you are going to declutter your bedroom, and your bedroom has an ensuite. So you're decluttering the bathroom, you're decluttering your dressers and your end tables, you're decluttering anything in the space that is not reflective of what you need to have in a master bedroom, which is a topic of one of our next webinars. So we'll dive deep into creating a sanctuary in your master bedroom. And you'll need to tackle the closet. And then you could decide that Sunday you're going to tackle one of the kids' rooms or your office. So you could do it one space at a time. Or you can do one type of area at a time. So you can do all of the closets first, and then you can do all of the bathrooms, and then you can do the storage rooms. So I would consider the garage to be a storage area, and whatever your furnace storage room is in your basement. And then you could tackle the dressers. Okay, so that's going one area at a time. That's how I tend to declutter now, only because I've gone through and done massive decluttering. So, in the spring and in the fall, I'll go through all of the closets. Around Christmas time, I'll go through all the areas that have toys. So I declutter that way now, but I also, have my office area and space. So that's a space that I'll declutter every couple months. Okay. And then you could also look at the categories of items at a time. So Marie Kondo has a book that's exploded in popularity about decluttering. It's called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. And she goes one category at a time. So she does all the books, and then she does all the t-shirts, and she does all the socks. And for some people, it's ideal. It truly works. It's great. And for others, it doesn't work as well. For me, I found that the method was tricky because I'm a mother of 3 girls, and there's a lot of things to manage. Okay, so it wasn't the greatest method for me, but it's a wonderful method. You just have to pick one and go, basically. Okay, the strategy doesn't matter. It only matters that you do it. So try it out. See what works for you, right? So when you declutter, here's what you need to ask yourself. Do I love it? And do I use it? Do I love it? Does it make me feel good? Is it something that raises my energy? Is it something that I want to look at? Is it something that makes me feel good when I wear? And then do I use it? In the kitchen, this is, one of the biggest questions, because in the kitchen, I don't know if you can love kitchen utensils. I suppose there's some I love. I love my Vitamix and my food processor. But it's, do I use it? Do I need 7 spatulas? Probably not, because I have the 2 that I love the most, that I use the most, so I get rid of the other 5. Do I really require 45 pieces of Tupperware? Do I use 45 pieces of Tupperware at any point? Have I actually used them all up? And if you have, great, man, you are a food making machine. But likely you haven't, so you probably don't need that many pieces of Tupperware or glassware. Okay? Be radically honest with yourself on the do I use it part and put a timeline on it. Have I used it in the last 3 months? Have I used it in the last 6 months? Anything beyond 6 months is a little bit tricky, but if you're not sure, stretch it out to have I used it in the past year? Okay. If you answered no, here's what you need to do. Donate it. Okay, I love donating it because it feels like a way of giving back, and some of the stuff I'm donating is really quite wonderful. Throw it away. If it's garbage, let it go. Put it in a garage sale or sell it. So one of my favorite things to do is put things on Kijiji, especially the kids' toys and any pieces of furniture. Like, love Kijiji. I get so excited when somebody messages me. And I have a friend who has a whole bunch of stuff on eBay right now that she's selling, right? Or have a garage sale. Like, you garage sale warriors, I love you. It's not something I would do, but definitely plan to have one. But the thing is don't declutter and then have your garage sale 4 months from now. Like, make a plan and a strategy that you're going to declutter over 3 weekends, and on the 4th weekend, you're going to have a garage sale. Okay? Because all you've done is moved it from the house to the garage. The energy is still with you. The clutter is still there, and it's still impacting you. Albeit it's in the garage, which is better, but we need to like move it off your property and out of your life. Or give it away. If you know somebody who needs it or wants it, give it away. Okay, to a friend, to a family member, to a kid down the street that you know wants it. Okay, it feels good to let go of things, but also to give things when you know that somebody else could actually make use of it. And somebody else could love it more than you do. And that's what happens when you give things away, okay? Here are the clutter clearing rules. You knew there had to be rules, okay? They are: spaces should be 50% empty. And this is tough, you guys, okay? But like, your closet should have some breathing room. If you don't have any breathing room in the space, if it's jam-packed full even after you declutter, then it has no room for anything new to come into your life, okay? So when I look at a cupboard, there should be room for something new to go there. It doesn't mean that something new should go there. It just means that energetically, I have space to attract new things in my life. 50% is a little tricky in the kitchen, so go for that maybe 75%. No, not even 75. 65 to 75%. Room, and even in your closet, start there. But realize that less is actually more. And what you want to do is create space for energy to flow so that you can increase your abundance, improve your relationships, and increase your personal energy so that you can fulfill your purpose. Okay? Everything needs to have a place. We talked about clutter being untidy and disorganized. And you can only declutter your own stuff, and then you can assist your children in their spaces. But this does not give you carte blanche ability to go and declutter for your partner, for your parents, if you live at home with them, or for anybody else who resides in this space with you, unless you have their permission. You can't decide for them. This was really hard for me because I obviously help my girls and I continue to help my girls, but my husband, oh, he liked to keep things, like everything was a memory. We had Rubbermaid bins full of every hockey trophy ever and medal, like from like, I don't even know what the first part is because my girls aren't into hockey, but like from the first grouping all the way to when he played in the IHL, which was more impressive. And finally, after quite a few rounds of me clearing clutter and we were moving, I said to him, do you need these trophies? Like, a lot of them were broken. And he's like, I think the girls will want them. I'm like, let's call one of them down and see if they want them. And the girl's like, oh, nice. And they walked away. The thing is we attach importance to something that in the end, somebody else isn't likely going to want. You know, this was something that my mom and I had a big conversation about because she was keeping stuff for me to pass on to me when she passed on. And I'm like, all I want really truly is the photos, some of the pieces of glassware and china, and the money, right? Like, in the end, that's what people truly want. But you have to think about decluttering on this basis of I'm not going to keep this for somebody. It's I truly want to keep it because it means something to me. But you also have to respect that in the other person. So going back to Carlin and his trophies, he let go of all the little ones and he kept the bigger ones that meant something, right? And the part of his career that was more important. He kept the jerseys from them and the goalie mask, right? He kept the important stuff that really had a good story to it, that then he could share that story with, and that he truly just wanted. Okay? But you have to remember that the memories aren't really in the things. The memories you carry with you, and they're in your stories. Okay? So I would recommend that all of those kind of really special things you leave till the end of your decluttering. That is one thing that Marie Kondo does recommend, and I do too, because it's the hardest stuff to go through. What I've noticed about clutter clearing is the more you do it for your stuff, it increases the energy in the space, and you will find that at some point your partner or your spouse will start doing it too. Okay, all you can do is encourage them, or you can say, if we need to tackle the garage, I don't send my husband out there alone. I'm like, Kate, the garage is kind of starting to pile up a bit. Let's go out on Saturday morning and go through it. Okay, because most of the stuff in there is his. But I'll ask, do we need this? Don't we need this? What does this look like? Okay, so you have to go about it in a way that maintains the relationship. Okay, and remember that you don't have permission to get rid of somebody else's stuff. One item comes in, one item goes out. So if you buy a new purse, once you've decluttered, remember that when you get home, there's a purse that has to leave. This is how you start managing your space, okay, and maintaining the energetic spaces in there that you achieved with the decluttering. Because if you declutter and then you just go out and buy a whole bunch of stuff, you're just filling the space back up again. So this is hardest for me with shoes because I am a big shoe lover. So I have a fairly decent sized shoe collection, but I know that when I buy one now, one of my pairs of shoes has to leave. Okay, so it really changes my buying decisions. But what's more important to me is the energetics in my space. Okay, so I adhere to the rule. My kids know this rule too. So at Christmas, they get new things based on what they wanted. And then they have to make a pile of the same amount of things they already have that we donate to kids. Okay, it's one item in, one item out. And they know this, and we do it every year. Everybody's ready for it, okay? And as they get older, obviously less toys come in. But we do it because you need to be radically committed to keeping the clutter at a minimum, okay? And then get rid of broken things, okay? Chip plates, anything that's broken that you've tried fixing multiple times, it has broken energy, right? So the energy doesn't really serve you in the same way as something that has not been broken before. Okay, now you need a plan. So you know the rules, now you need a plan, okay? So decide on your clutter clearing approach. So are you doing one room at a time? Are you doing one category at a time? Are you doing similar areas at a time? Which type of approach are you going to take? Decide if you're donating things or having a garage sale with the items. So you have to choose, because donating is easier. You just grab the garbage bags and go. You have a garbage bag for trash and you have a garbage bag for donations. Okay, if you're having your garage sale, then you've got to start sorting things a bit so you can price them. And then you have to schedule it. You have to commit time in your day to do it. So today, because we're on this webinar today, I want you to schedule in 10 minutes to go through the junk drawer. Okay, then I want you to schedule in an hour over the next few days to start going through your closet. Those are two really easy places to start. But you have to schedule it. Make a commitment. So schedule it in. An hour on Saturday, you declutter. And you just get done whatever you can get done in that hour. Okay, and then what you're going to find is you're going to want to do a second hour because it starts feeling really good letting go of things. Okay, but scheduling it is key at this point. I know that every spring I go through the closets. I know every fall I go through the closets. I know every Christmas we go through the toys. Like, I have a schedule with how I maintain the clutter. Where do you start? Okay, you've got to assess your clutter areas. So I want you to write down the top 3 most cluttered areas in your home. Is it your closet? Is it the storage room? Is it the garage? What is it? I want you to write down the 3 areas with the least clutter, because these ones you can leave till the end. And I want you to write down the area that bothers you the most in your space. So it may be one of the top 3 most cluttered areas, or it might be another area that bothers you. And usually when an area bothers us in a space, it's not energetically aligned with who you are or who you want to be. Okay, so we tackle that energy. And then write down the area that bothers you the least. So we're just assessing where you're gonna start, okay? And then write down the area that continually collects clutter. This for me is the mudroom, okay? It's shoes, it's coats, it's book bags, it's all of it. And it just seems to pile up a bit because it's the things that we need when we leave the house, etc. So it's an area that I'm constantly managing. Okay, so you have to realize that there's always going to be a cluttery area in your home, and you have to just manage it on a daily basis to make sure that it doesn't impact the energetics in your space. Okay, so when you schedule your clutter clearing, start with the top 3 most cluttered areas, or start with the area that bothers you the most. Okay, these are the areas where you're going to see the biggest shifts and changes in your life happen when you shift and change the energy by getting rid of the clutter. And remember what you ask yourself: do I love it? Do I use it? Okay. This is the final step. I want you to begin with the end in mind. And here's what I mean. I want you to envision your ideal space. So when you close your eyes, envision and see the space that you want to live in and come home to each day. So just take a moment and close your eyes right now. Is it vibrant? Is it peaceful? Is it warm? Does it feel cool? In your mind, open the front door and look around your space and take note of how it looks, what color the walls are, the small details of the space, and most importantly, notice how it feels. Okay, so once you have the vision, I'd encourage you to actually write it down, because this is where you're headed with this, okay? This is your reason why you're gonna do this, is you're gonna create this space that you've just seen in your mind that nourishes and supports your personal energy. You're gonna create this space that makes you feel amazing, okay? That takes care of you and that takes care of your family and that is energetically aligned with what you want in your life. Okay, you can open your eyes now. This vision will drive you and motivate you to create the space that you desire. Clearing clutter is the first step in increasing abundance, fulfilling your purpose, and reclaiming your power. It truly is. It lays the foundation. It changes everything, not just the energy. Okay, let me know if you have questions or want to share your clutter clearing success story with me, because I always love to hear it, because you'll start shifting and moving clutter out of your life, and money will show up from certain places. Relationships will foster and grow, or someone will appear back into your life that you've been missing. So make sure you email me with these stories at jill@jillatha.com. We have some time for any questions at this point. I'm going to go back to being done with the screen share. The most important thing about clearing clutter is understanding that it's something that you will have to do on a regular basis, okay? So it's never really done because stuff is always coming in. But when you set the right foundation and the right baseline, and you get the spaces to where you want them to be, like 50% empty, things are all organized, everything gets put away, everything has a space, then you're just shifting into maintaining. And maintaining is a lot easier than this first push of clutter clearing. But what I know to be true is when you clear clutter, you change energy and you change the possibilities of what you can attract and have in your life. Okay, so if you want to make a radical change, start clearing clutter today. Tackle it. Go after it. Move quickly. Put on, the fun music so it feels really good. But make sure you just do it. It creates a massive shift. Okay, it lays the foundation for your life to really happen. Okay, I'm just going to check and see if we have any questions in the chat box. And if not, we are going to We're going to wrap up for today. I thank you for joining me in Clearing Clutter. I look forward to teaching you more about how to attract abundance in your life using energy tools and techniques, and also how to create a sanctuary in your master bedroom to create a more loving relationship with your partner or your spouse, and how you feel about yourself. So get going. Start clearing clutter. Send me pictures of the bags that you're donating, of your garage sale, and send me, stories about what's happened because you shifted the energy in your life. I thank you for being here. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to getting to know you better and working with you again.